I was nervous to be in the room with Beyonce.
That was probably one of these big superstar moments. What was another one of these moments?
Well, yeah, there's Madonna in it.
Can you sing it once, the da-da-da?
And my heart goes.
Never Forget You, Zara Larsson.
She'd never written a song before. Both sides of our camp said this should be a duet. And we were both a little bit like, what sense does that make? Oh, my love, where did you go?
How old were you then?
I was 16.
16. You had your number one hit.
Have you ever seen a pretty girl get ugly like this? Messy like this? Losing her shit.
Welcome to another episode of Songs You Know. And today's guest is one of the very few that I can introduce with da 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 da.
Oh dear.
Am I how it goes? I mean, how many people can be introduced with a da da da? That's incredible.
That's
MNEK
real.
in the studio.
Yay. Thank you, Toby.
That is amazing. That song was haunting me and making me happy and all of the above.
Yeah.
Whenever I took a cab in London last year, and it's probably still on the radio everywhere.
I think it's, you know what? I think it's great to have records like that are able to kind of just be, because it came out in the pandemic and, you know, it was Head and Heart with me and Joel Corry, in case people didn't know. And yeah, like it was necessary kind of just like I heard the song because it was a song that was presented, and usually I write and I produce and I sing the songs, but then sometimes it's great to hear a record and be like, oh, I like that, and then this is what I can bring to it and what I can add to it.
Before we dive into the song, I would love to just let everyone know about your insane accomplishments. So not only have you produced for Madonna and Beyoncé, and let me see the list: Kylie Minogue, Dua Lipa, Her, Zara Larsson, Gedda, Jax Jones, Joel Corry. And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And so you're a producer, but you're also an artist, and you're a singer, and you're all of the above and so much more. And the songs Head and Heart, I only know it as da 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 da. And then the other one is even more infectious. Never Forget You, right? Zara Larsson. And Where Did You Go? I mean, your songs are so catchy. It's painful. I mean, in a good way.
I'm glad to make songs that stick, you know what I mean?
They stick, they do, yeah. And then Blinded by Your Grace, Stormzy, who is huge in England, not so much in America, but should be because he's brilliant. I don't know, that's probably America's behind.
America is always behind, unfortunately.
Yeah, they still have to learn what's great. And then Hold Tight, Madonna, which we both worked on.
Yes.
I would love to then dive into da 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 da. Tell me all about it.
So Head and Heart was, I'd listened to the song. It got sent to me by Joel's team.
Yeah.
And you know, I usually am writing and producing and singing the songs, and it's very rare that I hear a song and I'm like, okay, I can hear myself on it, or I can hear what I can bring to the song.
Can you sing it once, the da 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 and the hook?
I mean, I mean, at this point, it's such a ism.
And then it's da 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 da.
And my heart goes.
And the verse?
It is catchy.
I love it. Let's keep going.
Oh my God, what?
You sound
I
great.
didn't expect a
I love your
acapella
voice.
performance, Toby.
Yes, give me some chills.
With no
Come on.
fee?
You can do it.
No fee? That's crazy.
We don't work for money. We work for the fee.
That's hilarious. No, but Head and Heart was just like hearing the song.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was written by, you know, Kaleidoscopes and Robert Harvey. And, you know, they'd had this demo, and I heard it and they were struggling to kind of get over the finish line. And I guess like I'm at this point in my career in the past maybe 5 years where it's been so much more about what I can add to a record, you know, whether I'm writing and producing, as far as finishing it. Yeah. You know, in this case, Head and Heart had the verse, it had the chorus and the ba 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 da da da.
Yeah.
But it didn't have like a bridge, or it didn't have a pre-chorus.
Yeah.
And so it was me and
you probably with your voice made it so much better.
Well, I think that hearing the song and being like, duh, there's just no denying I'm singing that.
Da 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 da.
But like, it felt like a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I think that's a nice feeling when it's like, oh, like that's a great song. And don't have to feel bad about feel like I'm gloating. It's like, that's actually objectively a great song and I'm happy to sing it. And I've added to it. Me and my good friend Leo Callian wrote the pre to the song. And it was the final puzzle piece to the record, and then my vocal at the end.
And the song is cool, and it's fun, and it's fun to sing along and feel cool, and it's.
I love singing it. You know what I mean? I think, and it came out during the pandemic, and it was such a time for everyone where they were just feeling a bit uncertain and a bit uneasy. And I think a song like that was really nice to bring some kind of like upbeatness and have everyone dancing and have someone just feel good, you know what I mean?
What was the trajectory of the song? Like, the day it came out, what happened? How long did it take to climb the charts all the way up?
You know, it was really quick. I mean, I think it was one of them ones where we recorded it in like March 2020, and then it came out in July 2020, and by the time like August happened, it was number one. You know, it was one of them ones where it was like a steady climber.
And it's almost one of those where you don't care how big it is. I care about how many people wanted to emulate it and then start to do their own da-da-da. Like after this song, every second dance song was da-da-da-da-da something. Da-da-da-da-da.
What I'll say is, because when I heard it, right, I originally thought it was a demo sent by Good Boys because they had the record da-da-da-da.
That's right. Yes.
That's why I thought it was the original record was from. And because many people had heard that record and been like, wait, is that you on that song? And I'm like, no, I just sound like a lot of things pitched down. So then anytime anyone plays a record that's like, they're like, is that MNEK? It never is.
Just take the credit and be happy.
I should. Yeah. But you know, it's just, I can't, I'm too honest of a person.
Well, that's good too. Honesty goes a long way.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's honorable.
Never Forget You, Zara Larsson. Let's talk about this one.
So Never Forget You, that was a record. I did it in 2015, so it's 10 years old now. And it was in LA, and it was a session. I think a session got cancelled that day. This is like one of them stories. And the session
Isn't that like the story of my life and so upsetting if you prepare so much and someone important comes in a session and then last minute they probably double booked.
Oh
and
yeah,
you were the less important one.
Right. And that's, I guess it's fine because, you know, what ended up happening was like a session with me, Astronomy, and Zara Larsson came about. And I wasn't the most familiar with Zara. I mean, I'd heard of a few records and I knew that she was like super talented and super young.
Yeah. You thought it was a clothing store or something.
I knew Zara Larsson, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I didn't know her. And so getting in the studio with her, she was 17, face full of braces, came with her mom. And I was 19 or 20. And we just got in and she'd never written a song before.
Oh no.
She'd never written a song because, you know, on her previous albums to that point, she'd just been singing songs she'd been given and like, this is your album, you're going to record these songs. And there was no real like guidelines as far as like how we were supposed to make the song we were going to be making.
Pretty much wrote the song with the mom.
Oh, the mom left. The mom left at that point, thank God. But
those like, sessions happen too, that the mom sits there and she ends up writing the song for the daughter.
Oh, no. I can't do those sessions.
I've had those sessions.
Have you?
You've like really pull through.
And the mom is just in the credits.
I'm not, doesn't even matter, but like just getting through these sessions is tough.
No, but thankfully her mom left, but it was just us three and she really leaned into the process and she was really excited to like be able to like have a part of the song. And then came the fact that it was, you know, it was just her on the record initially. And so we recorded the demo and I'd produced a track alongside Astronomy and then I'd vocal produced her in the session to write the song.
So you also did the track?
Yes.
Amazing.
I did.
You're so talented.
Thank you. But yeah, that was that. And we were very inspired by Jack U and Justin Bieber, Where Are You Now?
Yeah.
Because we heard that and we were just like, whoa, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think a lot of people were very inspired by that record. And so we did it, and Zara was singing the demo. I'd been listening to Zara's version.
Yeah.
And there was something in me that was like a little bit like, gosh, I could really do with singing this song. And the truth of the matter was, because I was signed to, you know, Virgin Records at the time.
Artist?
Yes, I was signed as an artist, and I'd released an EP that had, you know, it sold plexiglass for real. It didn't do anything. So, you know, I just felt like, hey, this is a song that is clearly a hit. You know, it's one of them records where we all left the room and we were like, that's a tune. Like, that's really big. I ended up recording a version of the song.
Yeah.
Just out of sheer, look, I want to hit with this label. I know this song is huge. Yeah. I sung my version. And my label were like, yeah, it does. This is the next single. And Zara was like, I still want to sing this song. What are you doing recording a demo of this song? And eventually, it was both sides of our camps that just said, this should be a duet.
Right.
And we were both a little bit like, okay, like, what sense does that make? I mean, we both can sing the song, but like, what does it have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Eventually we got on, and like, it just made sense. Like, we heard the record of both of us on it and both of our takes on it, and it just made total sense. And we were all so excited for it to come out, and, you know, to do the video and for it to do well in America. And like, it's both of our biggest like hits internationally, you know, and our working relationship continues even now. I'm exec producing her current album.
Oh, that's great. I love that if it's not just a one-off, but you actually stay in touch with the artist. And
oh yeah, no, I love Zara, and like I've worked with her like over the years across her albums, but I'd had a couple songs on her last album, but she really wanted me to be a part of this one as far as like from the root of things, because like I said, Never Forget You was the first song that she wrote, and it was the first time that she felt, okay, cool, I feel comfortable in a writing scenario. And so I want to carry that feeling of comfortability, or carry that feeling of like, this is me.
That's great.
Along this next album.
And you performed it together as well a lot, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we around like 2015 and 2016, like we performed it so many places, and it was so much fun. Like,
and then let's talk also about Where Did You Go, Jax Jones?
Yes.
That's a big one too.
So Where Did You Go with Jax?
Sing it once, the hook, just.
It's a bit high. Oh, my love, where did you go? I want to know, where did you go?
So catchy.
It is a very catchy song.
Your songs are so catchy.
I know how to pick them. But
how did this come about?
This was a similar situation to Head and Heart, where it was initially like an idea that Jax had. And, you know, Jax and I have known each other for a really long time, because one of our first like instances of like working together was through Duke Dumont, and I'd written a record for Duke Dumont called Need You 100%, which got me my Grammy nomination in 2013.
Wow, we got to talk about that after this.
Yes, for sure. And so that was my link through with Jax.
Yes.
Through working with him over those years, and we'd worked on a few records at the start of him, you know, releasing music, and one of them was a record called Housework, and in there, I'm not even singing that much. I'm actually just like rapping across it, and it's like me and Mike Dean on the record, and there's one line in it where I'm like, what you gonna do in that record? And that became Jax's tag for all of his records. So any Jax record you hear that has what you gonna do is me. He didn't put it on this one for whatever reason. It would have made sense, but I feel like, I mean, it's just, I'm on the record. I even like did a one where I was like, I harmonized it, and I was like, what you gonna do? And he just like said, we're not doing that.
But when you got the Grammy nomination, did you actually go to LA to the Staples Center, and were you there in the audience?
I had nosebleeds.
Oh no.
It was me, and it was Kaba, who is singing on the record, Need You 100%.
Yeah.
And we were there, and more than anything, it was just about the experience and to be able to kind of have that to my name and to be able to walk around the world and be like, yeah, I got nominated for a Grammy.
Did you use that to network? Because everybody is there at the Grammys and you can just go to everybody and say, this is me, I wrote this.
It helps, you know what I mean? It definitely helps. It helps in networking, but I also think that, yeah, like little things like that, I say little things, but like, things like being recognized by the Recording Academy and ASCAP and like all these things, like, they do change people's perception of you and they add a different respect. And I think also because I started from really young, I think that respect was going to be important in kind of solidifying my place in this.
How did you get started? Let's go back to the very, very beginning. Like, what was the first moment in your life when you felt music moves me? I want to make music.
I was always a big fan of music. And so I think like it started with that. I think when I was really young, I just would always watch a lot of MTV and VH1 and just...
Did you dance in front of the TV when you were 2?
I wish I could dance. I mean, I definitely was in front of the TV. You know what I mean? I was more emulating the vocals. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because my mom and dad also played a lot of music in the house. And
were they musical? Or did they make
music? They weren't musical, but they loved music. Like it was constantly like on the way to school and in the house. Like, my mom was a big Whitney fan. And so I'd always loved the vocalist from her. And then my dad loved like Bob Marley and like New Jack Swing and like was a big R&B fan. So I was able to listen to a lot of music and have like a good palette of like taste as far as like my first introduction to it. And then it was like something hit me where I was listening to it and then being like, I want to know what it feels to make that, you know what I mean? To make that feeling.
When did you write your first song?
I don't even know. I thought I wrote my first song when I was 8 and it was a song called Paper and Pen.
How'd it go?
I can't remember it. I mean, I feel like some of the lyrics is like paper and pen is the first thing on my mind.
Okay.
I can't remember the rest of it. I know that was an F minor. That's all I've got. That's all I remember.
And when did you perform? When were you on stage for the first time?
That was in a talent show at school. I was very shy to sing like in front of people. And I sang When I Fall in Love by Nat King Cole. So that was my first time singing. And that after that I felt more confident like singing in school recitals and all that kind of stuff.
How does that song go?
Oh my goodness! This is a show. I'm performing.
No.
This is a PA. I can't believe this. When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love. That's what I'm singing.
Yes, such a beautiful voice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great.
I like singing sometimes. Sometimes I like singing.
And
other times I like hiding.
Otherwise, you make the beat.
Otherwise, I tell someone else how to sing it. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I prefer it. Other times I'm like, I want to say what I want to say. But
I wish I had just a fraction of the voice of yours.
So. Oh, please. Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, I haven't heard you sing, to be fair.
That's why.
But yeah, my first time singing in front of people was a talent show at school. And I think over the years, my like confidence with performing grew with the various people I aligned myself with.
Yeah.
I definitely, at first it was like, I'm singing ballads in school recitals, but then it became, my affiliation with dance music and, working with people like, Duke Dumont. And
was that your first big song with Duke Dumont?
That was my first. Okay, so it was my first #1 record in the UK.
Oh wow, yeah. How did that go?
That's my bit.
And then
the other bit is, I want to be the one you call every day and night. You know that one, right? Thank you. So that was my first UK #1 as a writer. My first hit actually was with The Saturdays with All Fired Up, and I co-wrote that with Xenomania.
Nice.
That was my first like cut, you know what I mean, quote unquote, and that went number 3 and did this thing here. So
that's great.
That was a nice thing, and the gays love that song, you know what I mean.
How old were you then?
Sorry?
How old were you then?
I was 16.
16. You had your number 1 hit.
I had my first top 5 songwriting credit at 16.
Oh my God.
So I was fresh out of secondary school, and I just went straight into this for real.
And you quit school after that?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I was out of there. I couldn't wait.
Nothing more to learn after that.
I couldn't wait. Yeah. I was so over it.
And then I also want to talk about, it took you until age 19 until you came out?
Yes.
Why did it take so long?
I mean, I don't know if it's that long.
That is
I think
long.
19 is, I think, really and truly, I know I came out when I feel like I was realizing everything properly about myself. I know that I put my life into my music and to just like the love of it, and I never really thought about my own preferences or you know, the way I wanted to actually live my life when I wasn't making music.
So you didn't fall in love before?
No, it wasn't anything like that. It was more like you know, it was the right time to come out, and I also was about to be releasing my own music at the time, and I was feeling like I didn't want to have to put on a face or have to be singing about girls. I just felt that would have been a bit weird.
Yeah, I applaud everyone who's coming out, and I know it takes such an effort just to reach a level of normalcy that we take for granted.
Oh yeah.
And with Callum Scott, I wrote a song, No Matter What, about it. I couldn't believe when he said his friends were beating him up when he told them about it. It must have been I don't know if it's a different time or a different environment, different setting, or if it probably still goes on today in certain areas.
I think it's a different environment. I think like, and by the way, I hinted at it a little earlier, but like, I went to go see Callum. I think it must have been at the O2 a few years ago, and it was when he'd first premiered No Matter What. Yeah. And so it's very cool hearing you speak about it now, because I just have a fresh memory of that.
It was such an emotional session.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I feel like his environment is quite laddie. So I feel like it would it would be like, you know, the polar opposite. And I guess my experience was definitely that, you know, being black and being queer, and also just growing in this industry, and you know, knowing that I wanted to, it did give my career an extra purpose. I will say that, because I know that it's not just me that I am advocating for.
You were a movement. Yeah.
It's a movement, and also it's like, I see what my presence does for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
And just like, you know, at least letting people know that it is possible, and if you have the talent and you have the drive and you're willing to work, and those types of barriers, those societal barriers aren't there, you know, they're not always going to hold you back from achieving what you want to achieve. Because this is all I ever wanted to do. All I wanted to do was be in a position where I could make music, whether I'm singing it, writing it, producing it, vocal producing it, giving a little idea, and be fabulous at the same time. You know what I mean? I think that's all I ever wanted.
So how do you write songs? If you, let's say, in daily life, you hear a phrase that you like, or what inspires you? Is it words? Is it music? Is it where does your inspiration come from? I
think it's a mix of things. I think sometimes it will be a phrase that someone could say, and like my default would be to make it into a jingle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the type of person that, like, if you say, I don't know, like a phrase, like it's like song association. Like I can always find a song for any phrase that anyone says or something. But then when it comes to like songwriting, I think it's just it can be a phrase that inspires me.
Yeah,
it could
like
be a
who put the chair on the table?
Put the chair on the table? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a smash or anything, but
it's a smash.
I'm not saying it's a smash. I'm not saying it's a hit, but like, you know, it's like it can be that kind of flippant. But then obviously we know that.
Who let the dogs out, and now you have a smash.
Precisely. You know what I mean? So it can be things like that just feel like so instinctive. Like, to be honest, I feel like something like that was similar to how the latest Zara Larsson single came about. I mean, I don't know when it's going to air, but her latest single is a record called Pretty Ugly. And it's a record that we did with Margot and Helena Gal. And it's been us as like the main team for the album. And the record is called Pretty Ugly. And I feel like how it came about was literally, we were talking and we were like, how about we have like a shouty chorus? And then I just blurted out, oh wait, no, I think it was Helene that blurted out like, have you ever seen a pretty girl get ugly like this? And it was just like out of nowhere. And then we all looked at her and we were like, messy like this, losing her shit. Like, and it's great when you can feel the seed and then know what is necessary to help it grow and to help it become like the full flower.
And it's always nice to start the song with the substance of it, like with the takeaway, with whatever you heard it for the first time tomorrow, you remember something. That's what I want to start with.
I love starting with the chorus personally. I think I always get nervous when an artist wants to start with a verse.
Or start with a chord or
a chord is fine. I think chord is fine. Like, some chords, but then if you like, let's find a hook, I'm like, we're on the same page.
Start with a track and a melody, and then you just desperate to find words that are good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it differs, right? I think it differs because I know I hate it when it feels like work. Like, I know I hate it when it feels like, okay, we're just really trying to thug it out for these lyrics and these melodies. And when it just feels like the melody belongs there, or as if like some higher power put it there, those are always really good.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce that we are launching a Patreon. This will be a place where you can find out about our upcoming guests, where you can get exclusive access to BTS footage, like for instance a walk through Greg Wells' studio. You can even submit your own questions that we're going to ask in the podcast. That's going to be so much fun. By joining this community, you can help tell the stories behind some of the biggest songs in music history. Thank you for your support. It really does mean everything, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Hope to see you there. So let's talk about moments in your life. What are some moments you're proud of?
I'm really proud of the work I've done over the years, and the writing and setting up things like I have a camp called Proud Sound, which I do every year around Pride. And
are you arranging the camp?
I am arranging the camp. I mean, I'm with Warner Chappell, who are my publishers, and we do it together, and it's a camp that is, for queer up and coming singer-songwriters and producers and creatives, and just, a chance for them to be in rooms together and connect and make new friends, and to make new collaborators, and to also just shine a light on queer writing, producing talent. I feel like I'm really glad I've been able to do something like that every year as a constant, and also just as a part of like that. This is a part of my life. Like, it's absolutely something that's really important to me. And I do believe that there's amazing talent in our community. Of course I'm proud of being able to say that I've been able to have I've been able to sell millions of records as, just as a music person. You know what I mean? I've had hits with me just singing on the song. I've had hits with me just writing. I've had hits with me just producing. I've had hits with me doing all three.
Are you DJing too?
No, well, I mean, I DJ a little bit, but I'm not ghetto. I'm no ghetto.
Well, with the camp in general, I think community is such a key word these days, and building community is always amazing. If you can foster the community spirit, that's great. I love that. It's very important not to just see the Instagram, TikTok, digital world, but actually to have a physical interaction with like-minded people, or people who like the music we're doing, or so, and foster that and bring people together to. Like, I was doing a So Far gig 2 days ago, very small venue, but in Hackney Wick at the Canal. and everyone was sitting on a blanket, on cushions, and I don't know, maybe 50 people. It wasn't very big. It felt like a living room gig. I've done a few of those with So Far in London, where they get the audience and they curate a few good artists, and you get to tell the stories and play songs. And it's such a different setting versus a concert, where it feels like you're in a living room with people who are instant family.
I feel like I imagine that creates an intimacy.
Yes.
And we're not in an intimate time.
Yes.
That everything is just so mega and large, and we have to quantify everything in millions and billions for
That's
it to be
exactly
worth
why I
something.
think we need to counteract that, and we need to foster community spirit and make sure that your neighbors. It starts right there, like living in a street. Talk to your neighbors, talk to strangers, and just be kind and see. I mean, we all have our own individual battles and stories, and just to connect. And
I also know, I've maintained my career and also gotten my career via collaboration.
Yes.
And via community, you know what I mean? And via like there being pockets of groups that I've been able to be calling my environment for a point in time, or, just it's not been me as an island,
Yeah.
I can write and produce records and sing them myself, but those haven't been the hits. The things that have been the hits have been where I've been able to share a part of myself.
Yeah, I
and
like that visual. I am not an island.
I'm
That's
not.
nice.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm
a continent.
I'm a continent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a worldwide bitch.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I community, collaboration, it's gotten us in so many.
Yeah, and that size of, let's say, 50 people all sitting on cushions on a blanket, it does something. I think from this one show, there were probably 20 connections made that lead to something new.
Definitely.
Friendships and work relationships and just inspiring cross-pollination.
Yeah. And I think like things like that are good. It's great. I was able to connect with a lot of people online, but then having those things where it's just tangible. So
like you don't feel the people online. Like to see someone in person and you feel them, you feel their energy, what they're going through.
Yeah. And so basically I'll invite like maybe 15 to 20 songwriters and producers, and we split them up into rooms, and it's more of a chance to get access to maybe the rooms that they wouldn't be able to do if they weren't in this scenario, or write for the types of artists, or just get access to like the pitching pool, or so I think it's things like this are good opportunities, especially in the industry we're in right now, where it's like, the want for records and the want for like outside ideas and international ideas is just growing more and more.
Yeah.
And especially from different perspectives
and
subcultures.
It's a good time. We have a lot of openly queer people who are very successful. Chaperone, Callum Scott, and people who are really talking about it and how inspiring everyone. And like that glass ceiling is broken. Like we know everyone can do it. We still need a queer president.
A queer, I don't know. I think that it's great that everyone can coexist.
Yeah.
I think that's just the main thing. It's not really about one going over the other or anything. It's just that there being an ability to exist and to enjoy the fruits of life and not get left with the sour grapes.
And not overthink it. And it's
that too.
Yeah. And just see it as natural. And just we're all people. Yeah. Are there some embarrassing moments in your career?
I mean, I fell on my arse in front of like 80,000 people.
Whoa. Did you save
Wembley
yourself?
Stadium.
How did you get up again?
I did it quite gracefully, I have to say. I have to say, like it was a lot more graceful than it could have been, but it was because it was to perform head and heart.
Did you think the show was over the moment you fell?
No, I mean, I knew that I had to continue singing because it was the beginning of my singing that happened, and I came up on yes, I was coming up on a toaster, and I was supposed to do the whole like levitate moment
on a toaster.
And
how big was the toaster?
It was a tiny toaster, and I'm a big guy. So I mean, and they even said a note. I actually zoomed in on the thing, and you zoom in, and it says, "Beware, big guy on the toaster.
Small toaster.
Big small guy. Toaster, big guy. And so I get on this toaster. Were you one of the
toasts that came out of the toaster?
Yeah. I was told to rise up at a certain point. You know what I mean? Because like you're supposed to like be like small, and then by the time that you're given a signal.
That idea, a toaster.
I've done it before and I was fine, but I don't know what came of me this time. I did it at Wembley Stadium with Zara, if I never forget you, a few years beforehand, and we had the whole toaster moment, but it was a slower toaster. Yeah. But this one was supposed to pop me out, like pop me up. And
I'm not sure if I like that idea.
And no, I ended up on my ass in front of everyone. But I styled it out. I just got up and I was just like, oh my god, oh my god.
It connects with the lyrics.
Stupid. Oh my god.
And then what comes after?
This performance has just begun.
Oh my god.
I'm trying to get up the stage and not look like an ass in front of everyone, because that's kind of wild. I'm on my ass right now.
I love that.
Great. But that's one embarrassing moment. But I've not been embarrassed any other time ever in my life.
Were there other moments where you like struggled, where things didn't look so rosy and where life was tough?
You want to know something? I think that working in the industry from so young has its trade-offs and caveats. On one hand, I'm so blessed to have a job that I've always wanted to do, and this is the only thing I've ever wanted to be in. And I got to skip the whole thing of like a 9-to-5 and universe and just fight.
It's all you've ever done.
It's all I've ever done. All I ever wanted to do was my plan A, and it worked out. You know what I mean?
You're so lucky with that then too.
Very blessed.
Yeah.
I think the trade-off of that sometimes is then a conflicting thing of like self-worth and where you get your validation from, and also just like how being in an industry from so young. And just the inevitable change and how grand that change is going to be because you've worked on it from so young and because things just evolve. That's been difficult, admittedly. Just kind of like those types of transitions. But ultimately, everything happens for a reason. People who are going to be in your career and your life are there for a reason. And nothing that's not for you won't pass you by. I think where I'm at right now, whereas I'm currently working on a new album
of your own,
of my own. I released that.
Is
album.
It a dance record?
It is a dance record, so it's going to be a lot dancier. But I feel like it's a different vibe to maybe the stuff I've done with like Joel and Jax, where it's like very like. That stuff feels like very like it's pop dance and it's very radio dance, you know what I mean? Face. And very in your face. Yeah. And my stuff is my new stuff is in your face as well, but I think it's from a different perspective, and I think it's from like a necessary perspective.
When's it coming out?
The plan is next year.
Next year, so we can't reveal anything yet.
I can't reveal anything just yet because I don't want to say something and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah,
but
I know how it feels.
I'm working on it and I'm kind of like doing a lot of it myself. And that's kind of been like my kind of other main focus outside of working with Flo, who I did their debut album in November. Nice. and Zara's album I'm working on currently. So I just be here.
What do you do outside of music?
What do I do outside of music? I watch true crime on YouTube, and I like to hang out with my friends.
You party hard?
I don't party that hard. I feel like something shifted at 30. And that wasn't that long ago, but like I just feel like I haven't been outside like that.
30, I loved the 30th birthday. Until then, I did not like myself. 30, I started accepting myself.
How could you not like yourself?
40, I felt I had figured life out, and that was amazing.
I'm in the middle of that. I feel like, like this is a different era in my life where I've worked really hard in my teens and my early 20s. Yeah. And so now I can kind of enjoy it in a different way. I'm not in sessions every day like I used to be. I get to do things I really want to do and, really use my time wisely.
What are some things on your bucket list that you want to do?
I still want to write a song for Mariah or Janet.
Ah.
I mean, if just from like the music fan,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I think as far as the other stuff, I've really been able to achieve a lot of things that I can confidently say that there's few people who will ever get to experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And success that, people won't be able to replicate.
Yeah.
And I'm very like comfortable in that. So really at any point now it's just to continue to make great music that does well, you know what I mean? And also to push myself, because I feel like this industry is going to be evolving.
Yeah.
And
where do you see it going? Let's say in 10 years from now, which is as fast as things are evolving right now, 10 years seems like a long time.
It is a long time, but, it also isn't like, it just goes by so quickly. This year's already going by so fast, So I think
if you picture 2035, what do you see?
Oh, I think 2035, I don't know if I'll be doing this still because that'll be a long ass time. And I think I'll find another way of being a part of music because I think that's the thing. I'll always want to make music, but it's just about how I'm a part of the conversation and what my input is, it's always going to be about that.
Do you have a big team around you, or is it mostly you?
It's just me.
Yeah?
Currently, yeah.
But I'm sure you have publisher, manager, label, and
I have a publisher. I'm with Warner Chappell. I'm with Warner Chappell.
Are they good to you?
They've been great.
They inspire you.
It's been amazing to have a place to, rest, but then also when we first started working with each other, just the ways in which I was able to really move and progress, and it was I was signed by John Platt, and
he's like an icon these days.
He is.
He's been so instrumental for Beyoncé and for a lot of big artists.
It was through him I got the cut on Hold Up for Beyoncé, and it was through my meeting with him, and he'd heard my demos and was just like, I need to sign you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you'd make amazing music with Beyoncé.
Yeah.
And I didn't really believe him until I went over to her house and, we did the whole thing. And I co-wrote on Hold Up, and I wrote.
How was your experience with Beyoncé?
She was so cool. She was so cool. It was so brief because I went over.
What year was that?
It was 2015.
Oh, that was about the time when I worked. No, mine was 2000. No, I was 2009. Sorry. Yeah.
Because you did
an album before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So 2015, and
2015.
You got to work with. Were you nervous working with Beyoncé?
I was nervous to be in the room with Beyoncé. I mean, I think it's nerve-wracking because I think I maybe downplayed it or whatever, but I grew up idolizing Destiny's Child, and
I think we all did.
Yeah. It was like, and I was a massive fan of everything that Beyoncé did.
How could you not?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, but to be in the room with her and to kind of just hear her think and hear her like create and be in that environment, because she, aside from Hold Up, I was also working around the time of the Lemonade, just writing camps and just making stuff. But Hold Up ended up on the album. But just to be in that environment around her and Carla Marie and Johnny Coffer and just a variety of people, and I met Mellow X there, and just like really interesting people that was able to connect with in that time, and a lot of it was down to John, and around that time I got introduced to Julia Michaels, and that day we were able to write a song that ended up being performed by Christina Aguilera. So many steps were elevating my career and elevating the places that my music could be going.
Yeah. What were your that was probably one of these big superstar moments. What was another one of these moments?
I mean, well, yeah, there's Madonna in it. The Madonna Story of just like me.
That was 2014, 15,
2014 for the Rebel Heart sessions.
Uh-huh.
And
in which studio did you work with her?
I was in Metropolis.
Oh, in Metropolis?
Yeah, I went to Metropolis to work with her.
Yeah.
And it was via Diplo, because we'd done a demo and she'd heard it and she dug it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, like, I think that I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, that record is my finest work and just like the best song that I could have absolutely given to Madonna. I think like another thing that people often don't realize about a lot of these artists is that they are their own artists, and sometimes their vision is even completely different to the person who wrote the song. You know what I mean?
Also, Madonna is doing these songs not necessarily to be on the radio, but actually to use them for her stage shows.
Yeah,
and
of course.
The stage shows are so unbelievable. So I actually got this song that you started. I had a week or two with Madonna in New York.
Oh my God.
And then she called me back to come to LA. And then we did a week there. And then we did another week in New York. And that was with Diplo, going through songs they had started but couldn't finish. And that was one of them. And
oh my goodness.
we had to fine tune things, polish some words, do little detail fixes here and there, which was one of the hardest jobs ever, to tell Madonna, this could be better here. Let's rewrite this line. And she's like, why? I like it, but it could be better.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Because I had the initial idea, and it really was for Madonna and her respective collaborators, to iron it out and make it make sense for her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes that doesn't, I don't know the story or the journey or that.
Yeah.
So like,
and these songs, they were handed from producer to producer.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like,
I saw that it just
so
really
many.
went
in the
down
end,
there.
Kanye gave us changed. I don't know what he changed. Everyone added a little sprinkle on it.
I don't
until
know,
we had like 10
did
writers
Kanye
on
do
the
something on that
songs.
song?
He worked on a lot of the Rebel Heart songs. Yes.
Surely not on Hold Tight.
No.
I don't know. I'm
not sure. I wasn't in the room when he did, but I know he did.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm not sure if it was on this song, but
I don't know. I don't want to put that image in my head.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like sometimes, you know, I remember like even besides from, you know, Madonna, you know, and I'd written some records for like some K-pop acts, and you know, it's rarely a case of, okay, we've written this song and it's being pitched for them. Sometimes they are finding a song from the archives, from, you know, literally vintage records that you have never even thought of, and they've just concoctioned up a new vision for it. There was a record I did with Zara and Julia Michaels and Justin called More and More, that didn't make Zara's album, and we parked it and twice ended up cutting the record. And they recorded it and they did their thing, and then, you know, I made my tweaks to it, and, you know, we'd written this song in 2016. They put out the record, and the record comes out like 2020 or something. The fans hate the record. The fans hate the record. And they're just like, what is this? This song is stupid. And it's like, what are you coming at us for? Like, we didn't choose this record. Like, they had a vision for the song. We didn't even want the record for Zara's album. So it's like, you know, it's a pass and parcel. Like, the second that the song that we've written goes to the artist, a lot of the time, more time, it's down to them to represent it and front it and really give you the...
It's got to be something they're comfortable with on stage, that they can actually really expand on it with. Like the Madonna songs, we did a lot of songs on the album, but then on her tour, I actually really understood why we were doing it and what we were doing and what she was aiming to get out of it. She was performing 7 of these songs we had written on her tour, and couldn't believe like the acrobatics she added to it and the visuals. It was so visual, the whole thing.
It's really impressive.
It's more like creating a soundtrack for her next tour that she can perform to.
Yeah, it's different. I guess it is different for different artists. I didn't mean to say different so many times. But yeah, like for someone like Madonna who still sells out, you know, big venues.
Worldwide.
You know what I mean? It's a worthwhile like addition to like her catalog.
Yeah.
But then there's certain artists where they're so much dependent on the next hit, you know what
We're
I mean?
almost formatted to think always in, is this catchy? Could this be a radio hit? And to get away from that and think independently, what reacts with my personality? What do I respond to personally?
Yeah.
What reflects, what makes me think? What feels valuable in a
And what's a
different
part of my
intellectual
catalog?
sense? Or, yeah, instead of just for this quick clickbait moment of, wow, this reacts and this is memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Like finding yourself in that, because nowadays there's like 100,000 records released every day, and you gotta find the thing that is you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely in the middle of that with in regards to my artist project and just like my album. And, you know, it's inspiring to see people like Charlie do her thing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, she was someone I also worked with when I was super young.
Yeah.
And to see her vision from that time fully realized is so beautiful to see.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also just a thing of, you know, she definitely had moments over the years where she probably felt like she had to play certain games, you know what I mean, and walk certain lines.
Yeah.
But this is a project that is just like undeniably Charlie. And we're in a time where people, you know, that homogenous or that kind of like cynical world of let's make a song that is literally for the masses. I mean, I think we're past that. I do think so. I think people are really looking for their crews, their tribes in these artists. And
for authenticity, personality, someone who's unique, really defining themselves in a very original way with their
and
craft
has a point
and
of
art.
view, you know, I mean, has something to stand for. And you know, I have all those things, and it's totally about curating that and making that make sense with what I do.
What's your show like if you perform?
Well, the thing is, I haven't performed in a very long time. So when I'd released an album in 2018 called Language, and I toured that record, and I'd gone to America, and I'd done a few UK shows and festivals, and that performance setup was me and 4 dancers.
Nice.
So it was fun for me to kind of like do the pop star
thing. But you don't dance, right? You let them dance.
I danced as well.
You danced too?
Yeah, I gave it a little bit of something, but no, it's all right. I did a little something, but you know, I'm not the most natural dancer, which is fine. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it as an extension of the music, and I relate to it. I feel like I can relate to it as a producer because I think that I kind of like pay attention to like the certain hits the same way I would on a Logic session, you know what I mean? And it's a bit of maths in there in a lot of ways, but so much of choreography is like coordination.
Yeah.
And I think I'm thinking about what my next live setup would be like for this record, because it's dance music and you know, it doesn't have to be just one thing.
What's some advice you would give someone who wants to be like you, who wants to be a successful writer, singer, producer? Let's start maybe with the producing part.
I think the producing part is I think it's worth kind of going back to the classic meaning of producer, right? Like the core, because I think that there's a lot of people who make beats and are great programmers, but they are not record producers. You're a record producer. You know what I mean? You're someone who like makes songs and also makes records, you know what I mean? And you are so integral to the final picture, you know? I know that there's a lot of people who don't know the difference, you know what I mean? And I think that it's important to, you know, have that core producer instinct, even down to Quincy Jones type vibe, where he's just like conducting the thing.
Like the big picture thinking.
The big picture
thinking. Not just
thinking.
the element and then send it to the mixer.
I think there should always be a big picture element as a producer.
Yeah.
I think that when you are inundated with the small details forever and ever and ever, I think it can be great, but I also don't know if it doesn't yield the same thing. You know what I mean? I think it's great to have a broader picture view as a producer. And then I guess for writing and singing, it's I think it comes back to that again, the core, and it sounds cliche, but it is the core of just what are the songs that made you want to write a song, and like what is your purpose, and what's your intention with this song, and what do you want to get out of this song, and like what kind of feeling do you want people to like receive like with this music?
Yeah.
What lasting impression do you want to have?
Yeah. What's the song that you wish you had written?
I really, really wish I'd written Can't Fight the Moonlight by Leanne Rimes.
Oh, how does that go?
Just surrender your heart, don't you know? You know that you.
I've heard that.
You just want me to sing it?
That's a beautiful song.
Yeah, like that's a genius record. I mean, but then as far as like a current song, I mean, to have been in the writing session for Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter.
You were not?
I wish I was. I mean, I feel like it's just one of the songs that when we were just talking about a hit.
Great words, yeah.
And you just hear the song. The first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, this is really good. Like, and it's just like, damn, it's so good. It's so good. Clever. Like a song about a woman keeping you up all night. You're on Espresso. Yeah. Duh. Like
it's the obvious genius, like so on the nose, simple, and yet you have never come up with it.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're just like, that's really well done.
Brilliant.
So I'd say that. Do you have yours?
The song I wish I had written?
Yeah.
I mean, many of these classics, like start with Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. It's such a great song. It has so much, like it gives me so many different perspectives to life. Just sitting there daydreaming and not working, but maybe pondering the greatest thoughts that are going to lead to something genius for the future. And
I was seeing that from reading it when I was put on the spot to do the impromptu PA performance.
Yeah. It's like a lifestyle song. It
is.
Makes you want to sit at the dock of the bay and ponder. If you could say something to your younger self, now that you have lived life quite a bit, let's say to your 8-year-old you, what would you say?
I would just say, like, find an instrument to play and stick at it. I played the tuba as a little kid and I stopped.
The tuba?
I was the fat kid with the tuba. I was the fat kid with the tuba and I would walk around with my tuba. And
did people make jokes?
Yeah, sure. It's like whatever. I was talented.
What do you play on a tuba?
I was playing a bunch of records because I was a part of like I was handing but I was handing the bass note and we play like a bunch of records. And at one point I think we did Crazy in Love by Beyoncé and I was doing the and I was doing I can't read sheet music.
Me neither.
Can you not?
No way. I wish I could. Especially now that I started performing, it would be so helpful to be able to write sheet music, but no. Yeah,
no, I can't do it. I know theory and I'm pitch perfect. It's not personality, I promise.
Oh, you're so lucky.
But like, yeah, like it's something I'm able to access, even if my fingers can't.
You were born that way, right? It's not something you can train. It's just like, wow, I can see these notes.
I don't know. I feel like you can train it.
Yeah?
I feel like it's like...
I'd love to train it.
I feel like it's the alphabet of music. You know, you just kind of like
But you can sing me an A now. Woo! I'm so jealous. Right now, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I know. You just feel it. It's like a frequency.
Wow.
But I don't think it's like I don't think the pitch perfect thing is as far-fetched as everyone else thinks it is. Because I do think that a lot of people have at least relative pitch. Like you go to a concert, and you've been to concerts where people are singing along to your records.
But that's when you
most of these
hear
people,
it sang to you and you just reciprocate, you just answer.
But most of these people, they're singing the song in key, in time. Most people have relative/perfect pitch.
Relatively speaking.
I do think so. Maybe they don't have like the pyrotechnics and the riffs and the runs, but they can hold a tune.
Are you musically trained, or did you ever have lessons?
I did have lessons here and there, but I feel like a lot of my musical knowledge is instinctive, and I think it's definitely from a more like soulful place than academic.
Intuitive.
Yeah.
Do you play jazz as well?
I can't. My fingers can't do anything.
No.
I can't play. I can't play like you.
Tuba jazz. Can you play the trumpet too? I mean, if you can play one of these blowing instruments, you could probably play.
I wish I could play the tuba again. I do. I wish I could, but the reason I stopped was because my tuba got stolen.
Oh no!
Outside of a chicken and chip shop.
That's terrible.
So that was it was traumatizing. It was traumatizing, and so I didn't do it anymore. But like, you know, maybe one day I could have a resurgence.
One day you see someone playing a tuba on the street, and wait, that's my instrument.
Listen, maybe we should have had like a. What do you call it? Do you know those production calls? those pre-production calls, and then you could have got a tuba and it would have been like, what? A tuba?
But a trumpet isn't far from a tuba, right? It's similar technique.
I guess it's similar, that the technique, but I don't know if they have to use your fingers differently.
Have you ever had a hit with tuba in it?
No, I haven't. I don't think so. I don't think I've had anything with like a real tuba. Maybe like a synth tuba. Maybe like a little like a synth like.
And nowadays, what's your go-to instrument?
My go-to instrument is my laptop, and when I say that, I mean in the sense of, you know, I produce on Logic, and a lot of the time I'm, you know, programming and doing it that way as far as like piano roll and whatever. But I love, you know, playing with just like synths and frequencies and also just knowing how to produce around a song, like a vocal and like a, you know, complete vocal idea, and then just knowing the bits and pieces that are going to elevate the record.
What makes a hit to you?
Something that gives you chills, and something that you wish you wrote yourself.
Yes.
And also just, I think something that it permeates in a different way. I think there's songs that permeate as far as like you hear it and it's like, duh, that's such a big hit. And then there's some songs where you're like, oh, that's really rich. That's good. Like, this is one of a kind of thing, you know? And I think in this job, it's so hard to quantify because it's so subjective, whatever a hit is these days. It's the goalpost has changed entirely. But I think it's an exciting time as far as like what can be created, and it gives us all a chance to push ourselves about how far we can go in this.
Do you work on your vocal instrument? Do you warm up? Do you do exercises? No?
I wish I did.
When you perform, do you prepare for it?
Oh yeah. When I perform and when I'm on tour and really like in the mode of singing a lot. I'll do like vocal exercises and hot teas and yada yada.
What are some do's and don'ts for aspiring singers and songwriters?
I would say don't wear sunglasses in the studio.
Good.
I think that's a vibe.
I agree with that.
You know, your eyes are like the window to the soul.
Oh, that's a nice one.
You have your eyes. I mean, it's fine. I'm wearing clear lenses today for you.
Yeah.
But like, you can still see my soul. And what else? I would say leave your ego at the door. I think there's some young producers and writers who probably do think their shit doesn't stink and, you know, get a few cuts and think that, you know, they've made it from here. And, you know, that doesn't always make a long career, and one that has some weight that, you know, you can go to the shop and hear a song you've written on the radio, that type thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's different when it's that. So I think like being humble, being gracious, you know, always remaining like open to learning and growing, and it not being a thing of I just know everything at this point, so everything should just come to me. I think I'm always willing to learn, and I think that is something I believe that's something that will keep me here for as long as I need to be.
Do you want to tell us about Flow?
Yes. So Flow are a young girl group who make R&B from the UK, and I've been writing and producing and vocal producing their material, and they released their debut album called Access All Areas, and it's been a labor of love working with them, and also it's been interesting coming from a different perspective. I think like I got into the industry always being the youngest and always being the baby of the room, and I think in this case I'm now a lot older, but then also leading these young women into this path of their career and helping them like with their music, whether it be music that I've written or music that even that, you know, they just love and just feel like, okay, cool, what you can bring to what we're hearing, you know what I mean, through vocal production or just like conceptualizing, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like I use a different muscle with the Flow project because it's they really trust just my musical brain generally.
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh, we just need you for this beat. Yeah. We need you to just do this. Like,
you're a mentor.
I'm a mentor in a lot of ways, but I also just feel like I'm just this kind of just a trusting source, you know what I mean? Like, cool, like we trust your opinion, we trust what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of this song? What do you think this song needs to sound great?
That's beautiful.
It's something I've always done. I think I've always done it over the years in different ways, but I think it's great to do it in a girl group setting because I love my girl groups, and you know I've have experience working with girl groups over the years, and it only adds to kind of just like our experience working with each other.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah,
it's been cool. I hope to work with them some more for the foreseeable.
We have a song guessing segment in this podcast.
Okay.
Where I'm going to play you a melody and you have to see if you can guess the song.
Okay.
You ready for that?
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's do it. Out of the deep end. Is it Shallow?
No, I'll give you more.
Okay. Billie Jean is not my lover.
You're good. You are good.
It wasn't in the same key.
Because, and this is completely not fair because you have perfect pitch. I'm so jealous.
It's okay. I used my brain. I was like, cool, that formation of notes goes there.
I wish I had that brain. But my brain is a big jumble. Everything just floats around and restructures.
But your fingers can play Billie Jean. Mine can't.
Sort of. You need more?
I do. Oh.
You got it.
Why you gonna be so rude?
Such a great song. I wish I wrote that song. That is such a great song.
It is a very catchy song. I have to say, you know, this is slightly unrelated, but it's related. Even a song like that, that's so narrative based, you know, and it's something for people to really like sit and listen in on and be like, oh, what's going on? Like, what is this song about?
Yeah.
You know, people still adhere to those types of records, and they still like adhere to those records that they can be on the edge of their seat to know how it's about to progress. Like, I think
gonna get the girl or no?
Yeah. You know what I mean? I even think of you know, Doechie's new record, The Danals a River, where that doesn't even have a hook. And that's genius, and it's just like a chance to be involved and be in it, and it's interactive and it lets people feel like they're a part of it, and they're like, oh no, like, oh damn, like, is he gonna have that? No, you know what I mean? So that song achieves that. Rude. Magic.
Okay, one more.
Okay. No. What? Oh, is that Blackbird?
Yeah.
The Beatles?
What a beautiful song.
Okay.
Such a beautiful song.
It is a beautiful song, and I really enjoyed Beyonce's rendition of it on the Cowboy Carter album.
That has a deep meaning, that song too.
It does, and I think her singing it, you know, I'm not the most familiar with the Beatles music, but like hearing that song beforehand and then hearing her sing it, and also reading Paul McCartney's description of it, and explaining that it is a song for Black women who feel like they're not being seen, and, you know, arguably ahead of its time. And he had that out there. And these are the same people that are, you know, there's a lot of people that really live by the Beatles, and having a political message like that and it being sung by Beyonce makes total sense.
Yeah.
But their bias and where they sit in the world won't allow them to see the relevance it has. I mean, Paul McCartney would hear that and be like, absolutely, that makes total sense. But it's a beautiful song.
One more.
That's hard.
And the singer, I give you a clue. That singer remarkably saw herself as a piano player, and yet she has one of the most beautiful voices ever. And in her career, she decided to become a full-on activist and broke with her record label, broke with the industry. I got a good feeling. Probably the wrong key.
Oh my God. No, it's the wrong key. I'm sorry, Toby.
Oh my God, I'm so bad.
I'm sorry.
What's the right key?
Because Etta James, right?
Yeah.
So, sometimes I get a feeling, yeah. Got a feeling I never
Sing.
had before. Oh no, I
Yeah.
got a good feeling.
That was beautiful.
I don't know if that. That's all I know the song. You know what I mean? Hey, look. But
Well, it launched Avicii's career too.
But
I applaud him for what he made out of it. What a great version.
I feel like sampling and like all of that kind of being able to refer to old pieces of music and make it into new music is always so inspiring. And you know, I'm always as a fan of like R&B and hip hop and dance music, you know, all of that stuff is so prevalent in that. So I mean, that sample was very clever, and it did wonders for him and Flo Rida.
But he also added some real new elements.
Oh,
that were
yeah.
Genius.
Oh yeah, just blend. He was great. It
So
got
good.
many people up in the clubs.
Yeah.
It was an interesting time for EDM.
Okay, here's one last one.
Gosh.
I'll give you a clue.
All right, okay, go for it.
It starts with a word of something we're actually doing right now.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
Yay!
Oh my
We're
God!
sitting, not on the dock of the bay, but
Well, no, not dock of the bay, but we are sitting.
yes.
Okay, all right.
What
Thank
a
you for
genius
that.
song. Do you know how that was written?
No, tell me.
No, I would love to know.
I don't know. You're the one with your laptop in front of you. I know the answers.
Maybe next time I'll find out.
Next time. But
Do you know
like,
when that was written?
I'm guessing in the 60s, right?
It's such a great song.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
What's it about? Sitting on the dock of the bay. Na, 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 na.
I've actually never sat to reflect upon the lyrics. I've always had that first line for as long as I've known music.
Can you sing the song?
I know the lyrics.
Sitting on the dock of the... Let's find them.
Find the lyrics.
Yes.
Because I ain't got the melody either. I've got the first line. I love how Toby's made this into a PA performance.
Otis Redding.
I don't know if I get this right. Give me a beat. Sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes. Watching the ships roll in. And then I watch them roll away again. Oh yeah. Sitting on the dock of the bay. Watching the tide roll. Is how it goes.
That's beautiful. I love your voice
See,
so
30-second snippet.
That was great.
We're in the social media timestamp. That's how much you're getting.
You passed the test.
Thank you.
Of greatness and
Yay.
incredible. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
And if you like the podcast, please like and subscribe. And if you give us a review, we'd be super happy about a 5-star review. And there will be more every Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.